Welcome back to another episode of Break the Silence. I am your host, Cyborg, and we just got done watching the Detroit Pistons demolish the Cleveland Cavaliers in Cleveland in Game 6 of the Eastern Conference semifinals. Game 7 is coming on Sunday night, and tonight the Pistons won 115-94 behind monster performances from their big men and from their bench. They really were impressive in this game and showed everything that makes the Detroit Pistons so dangerous, so physical, and are really hard out in the playoffs. After two series, they have played two 7-game series and have just given the other team an absolute dogfight of a series. On the flip side, the Cleveland Cavaliers came up small. Donovan Mitchell absolutely sold for the Cleveland Cavaliers. He finished the game with 18 points on 6 of 20 from the field, and we got more to talk about when it comes to that because I think that was one of the biggest storylines of this game. It would have been, tonight was his chance to make his first conference finals, and he did not come through for his basketball team. Before we get into it, make sure you take a second to subscribe to the channel. We're at almost 1,400 subscribers and covering the playoffs like crazy, so if you love the NBA, make sure you take a second to subscribe. So, like I said, Donovan Mitchell, 18 points, 6 of 20 from the field. Minus 25 was the worst in the game in plus minus. But it looked so much worse than that. In the fourth quarter, he was trying to play hero ball, putting up terrible shot after brick after missing shots that he normally makes. In the past, when Donovan Mitchell was with the Utah Jazz, he was one of the all-time leading points per game scorer in the playoffs. And it felt like so many times we blamed Rudy Gobert or Bojan Bogdanovic or whoever else for the Utah Jazz when he played there. And when he get traded to Cleveland, you thought, well, he's got good players around him. We'll see him start to blossom and really be able to make a run with young players like Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, guys like that. Donovan Mitchell had played pretty well in the previous few playoffs, but Darius Garland was hurt. We just kind of always had an excuse for Donovan Mitchell. And believe me, I am one of those guys who, you see Donovan Mitchell have high-scoring games. And, even for this series, he's still averaging 28 points a game. You see the guy seem like he performs in big moments, in big spots. He's huge in the fourth quarter, third quarter. I think he was number 1 in the NBA in second half scoring this season. So you see so much from Donovan Mitchell. But in this game tonight, it was all about him coming up short. We can't blame Rudy Gobert tonight. We can't blame Bojan Bogdanovic. We can't blame Darius Garland being out hurt again. We can't blame injuries. Tonight, you came up small. And I love Donovan Mitchell, the player. He seems like a great human being. But he did not get it done tonight with his chance to go to the conference finals. Everything he was trying to do was unsuccessful. 3 turnovers, 6 of 20 from the field in the series. He's not shooting a very high percentage at all. Honestly, he's been rough for large stretches of the series. Last game, he hit some big shots in the end of the game, I believe fourth quarter overtime. And the game before that, he had 4 points in the first half and 36 in the second half. And you kind of overlook some of the moments that he doesn't come through, but it kind of feels like that's the player he is. My best friend was here watching the game with me tonight, and we talked about how it always feels like Mitchell has stretches throughout a basketball game that you either don't notice he's on the court or he's not playing at his maximum potential. He's not getting good looks. He does take a lot of difficult shots, but then all of a sudden he'll just burst and have a ton of points in a short stretch and really take over a basketball game. And tonight it felt like he tried to do that, especially in the fourth quarter. He tried to take over the game, and it just wasn't happening. And it became quickly apparent with the way that the Pistons were, going back on the other side of the court and drilling shots, that the Cavs' only chance was to run their offense through James Harden. And in year 17, James Harden just doesn't have the juice to bring you back from that deficit. And what the Cavs need is to have both of those options, Harden and Mitchell, in the fourth quarter of a game in order to compete with these high-level teams like the Detroit Pistons. So all in all, this game is on Donovan Mitchell, and if they don't make it to a conference finals, I think there's going to be some very loud conversations about his future with the team and his standing in the league, because this is a series that you should have won. You were in position to win the series, and you came up short. I want to focus, though, on the Pistons a lot too, because they deserve a lot of credit. You've lost 3 games in a row. You're going into Cleveland, Game 6. Your season is on the line, and they came through in a big way. Paul Reed, Jalen Duren, Cade Cunningham, who's their shooter? I'm drawing a blank. Duncan Robinson, Jenkins. All of these guys came through in a massive way. Tobias Harris has been good mostly for the playoffs. He didn't do a whole lot tonight. But Duren, 15 and 11 in only 27 minutes. Asar Thompson defensively was really, really good. He had 4 steals in the first half. Finished the game with 10 points on the offensive end, 9 rebounds, 4 steals, 4 assists. Played well in a lot of aspects of the game. Jenkins, like I said, finished the game with 15 points. And it felt like him and Duncan Robinson and, to be honest with you, Marcus Sasser were hitting huge shots down the stretch in this game. Anytime that the Cavs started to get a little momentum, whether it was James Harden hitting a 3, Evan Mobley hitting a 3, or them just getting a decent possession, those guys came through and made a huge bucket. And I thought Paul Reed was incredible in this game, and he's really been good in the series. We've seen stretches where Jalen Duren has struggled a little bit, and Paul Reed's kind of come in and played big, important minutes for this Detroit Pistons team. He finished the game with 17 points on 7 of 9 from the field, 6 rebounds. So it feels like the Pistons are winning. It's been an interesting series because of the games that the Pistons have won. It felt like they've really won the big man battle, all in all. Duren and Reed. Duren early in the series was really good, hit kind of a rough stretch, and Paul Reed's been good. And then on the flip side, Mobley and Allen have kind of been, at times they've looked like they're overpowered and overwhelmed. And it's just kind of interesting because you'd think that the Cavs having 2 big men would be their strength when it comes to rebounding, paint defense, strength, points in the paint, all those sorts of things. But it really isn't. And we saw it a few years ago when the Cavs got beat by the Knicks, when they had Mitchell Robinson, Julius Randle, and guys like that. It just felt like the Cavs were kind of getting pushed around and beat up, even though they had those big men, and you kind of excused it because Mobley was young. But at this point, Jalen Duren 15 and 11 and Paul Reed 17 and 6. That's 32 and 17 between your 2 big men. And, those guys only played a combined 43 minutes, so they didn't play the whole game. So if the Pistons are able to dominate that big man battle heading into Game 7, I think this series is going to be over. But we saw the Pistons bench tonight, 14 from Duncan Robinson, 17 from Paul Reed, 8 from Karis LeVert, and 9 from Marcus Sasser. So that gives you, 48 points off the bench for the Pistons. That'll get it done. And that's a hard team to beat when you look at how great they are on the defensive end of the basketball court and how great Cade Cunningham is. And he didn't have his best game tonight. Still finished with 21 points, 8 assists, but he was a little inefficient and turned the ball over. He's still turning the ball over a little much in this playoffs all in all, but he's been an awesome player. He looks so strong on the court. He's so hard to defend. He sets his teammates up well. And like I said, my friend and I were having the discussion, if the Pistons win this series, does Cade Cunningham enter those top 5 players in the NBA discussions? And he's certainly got to be right there. You talk about guys like Wemby, Shea, Jokic, Cade, Luka, Ant-Man, like all those kind of, Jalen Brunson, all those guys, where does he rank? And he's certainly starting to enter those discussions. So if he finishes this out with a huge game in Game 7 and is able to advance his team, this will do big things for the Cade Cunningham legacy and how we view about this Pistons team going forward, even if they were to lose next round to the Knicks, who are going to be very well rested after the Pistons are coming off 2 difficult series. So one of the other things I wanted to talk about is just how the Pistons really dominated every aspect of this game. They shot 52% from the field to the Cavs 39%. They shot 44% from 3 to 34 for the Cavs. They out-rebounded the Cavs. They had 10 more assists, 3 more blocks, 2 less turnovers. The Cavs had 20 turnovers for the game. Points in the paint is really the difference, though, 48 to 26. And the Cavs do have some jump shooters, but like I said, you're playing with 2 big men, Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen. So if you're not winning points in the paint, or at least coming close, then you're really putting yourself at a disadvantage, having Jared Allen, who obviously can't shoot the three ball. Evan Mobley's been pretty good for the playoffs, honestly, from three. But I don't know if that's a winning formula if you're not able to at least compete in the paint for a series. And the game wasn't that close. They lost. The Pistons won fast break points. They led for 80% of the game. All that. So I think the Detroit Pistons are in a great spot, but Game 7s are interesting. And some guys come up big, some guys come up small. We know James Harden has had a history of not performing the best in big moments, kind of coming up small. And tonight, he was all right. He had 23, 7, but he still had 8 turnovers. 6 of 13 from the field's not bad. I didn't think James Harden was the problem tonight by any stretch. He was their leading scorer. So I thought it was all about Donovan Mitchell, to be honest with you. And the turnovers for the Cavs in general. I mean, they had a play where Harden was trying to pass the ball in, and I think Dean Wade just slipped on the floor. Pistons got the steal and got a wide open dunk, and it's just like the Cavs are just finding every way to turn the basketball over that they can. Asar Thompson was playing physical. He got a flagrant one. He was talking trash. He stepped over Sam Merrill, and it just felt like everything that is really impressive about the Pistons, their physical play. They got this dog in them. The way their play style, they really represent the city of Detroit, and it's one of the things that I love about that team is the Pistons. When they won with Isaiah Thomas in the 80s, they were physical, they were dirty, they beat you up. In the early 2000s with Chauncey Billups, Ben Wallace, they were dirty, they were physical, they beat you up, they got technicals, they got in your face, they talked trash, they were great defensively. And this team this year, great on the defensive end of the court, leads the NBA in fouls. The Pistons, when they're a successful basketball team, have had a very specific style of play, and it's what I really, really love, the way that they represent the city of Detroit. And I can't be more excited for Game 7. Again, if you love the NBA, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Appreciate y'all watching. Cyborg out.